available because I showed up to play and I showed up to contribute to everyone around me first.
You know, I have to ask you this. Did you coin the phrase contribution leadership? I had never heard it put in that way before.
No, well, yeah, you wouldn't have heard it. You know, I actually, when I do consulting on the marketing side, tend to steer people away from the idea of branding a new phrase if they're trying to really break into a large market. Like the leadership market is just huge. I mean, there are so many people in the leadership market right now doing training and consulting, and I was really trying to figure out, well, you know, do I really want to make a new phrase? But contribution is what this is all about. There are some groups out there. There's the Think Big Revolution group. There's Contribution Networking Party. There's, man, there are a couple of, the servanthood leadership is another way that you've heard it before. But I found that most business owners, myself included, I don't really resonate with the concept of servanthood leadership as much as I can resonate with the idea of contributive leadership and contributing to the success of my employees. And it's really Nordstrom. Like the foundational idea of, as a manager or an owner or in a process, to look to the other person to support them and lift them up for them to be successful and contribute to them, is really kind of where I boiled in the idea of contribution leadership. So now I'm just waiting for the rest of the world to pick up on it, and then hopefully I'll be the one that they think of.
You know, I love the whole concept, and it just gives such a feeling of giving back, and I think that that's so important nowadays, in particular, that we have a heart of giving. So it feels like that to me, and in reading the information that you have, it just feels so much like that, and it's a good feeling. I thought that was great, but I want to ask you. So, what are the 4 steps to contribution?
The 4 steps to contribution. You know,
yes.
I go to a lot of seminars, I read a lot of books, I listen to a lot of audio series, and I am constantly hearing people talk about good ideas and then not giving the actionable nuts and bolts pieces to what you really need to be able to do what it is that they're trying to tell you to do. And it always bothered me so much that when I wrote my book, Contribute Your Way to the Top, I was like, I am absolutely not going to just write about the concept. I'm going to just break it down into as easy a process as possible so that people really understand how to actually go out and implement this concept of contribution leadership. I went in and I interviewed 16 high-level senior VPs or higher people, CEOs of nonprofits, major companies, Fortune 100s, I mean Honeywell, Coca-Cola, the National Philanthropic Trust, which is a billion-dollar trust, and I asked them what their take on the steps would be. And so I had laid out a process of a series of steps, and through collaborating with them, we were able to really boil it down to 4 major components. The first one being understanding your own goals and how to properly set your own goals. The second step is learning how to drill down when communicating to other people, whether that's an employee, a customer, someone you're looking to do a joint venture with, knowing how to really drill down into their needs, their immediate needs of what they need next. Understanding how to contribute. Like, what does it mean to actually contribute to someone's success? And more often than not, and people are often really surprised about this, it doesn't mean you rolling up your sleeves and you providing for them the service, or you actually going out there and doing it for them. That's almost never the case when it comes to truly contributing. And the last step is effective follow-through. And you know, we all know the importance of like a handwritten thank you or a good email or prompt follow-through, but I systemize the follow-through so that it's easy. I mean, to me, I don't do stuff if it's not easy. If I can't do it easily, I figure it shouldn't be done that way. I'm just not doing it right. So that's really how we came down to 4 steps is manageable. It's something I can implement, and those 4 steps are the core components of contribution leadership.
Interesting. Well, you know, I'm hoping that everybody has seen the video that you put together on the drawing page.
Oh, yeah. I've shaved. Yeah. I've shaved and showered.
Yeah, you have shaved. Yeah. But you know, that was great because you touched on some of the things that you're sharing with us right now. But go ahead, Brian. It's your turn. You shoot some at him. Ask him some questions here.
Well, we're having
Grill him.
just want to let everybody know that for when you see a video glitch here and there, we're working on that. I understand the audio is coming through great, so we're just going to keep forging through. It's just a blink here and there. We started without video apparently, but we got the audio through, and that's the most important part about this show, is to get the audio component of it. But sometimes
I don't know. I dressed up, so I'm hoping that we can get that video going, because I did shave and shower and dress up specifically.
Well, it is going now.
yeah, we can see your gorgeous self right now.
Oh,
You
thank
look marvelous. You look marvelous. Yeah.
Now, sometimes, I noticed this when we talked to you, Jabez. You did not talk about yourself at all. It really was obvious to me, and I think to Kathy too. It was like, my goodness, he keeps talking about us, asking us about what is it we are about, what do we do, what are our needs, and it was all about us and had nothing to do with you, which is very rare in normal, especially in a meetup of networking folks that are entrepreneurial in nature. So most of us are inclined to talk about ourselves when we first meet someone. What is an easy shift for you to help you to focus on them? How do you make that work?
Man, Brian, I'm so glad you brought this up. Those listening out there right now, and I devote almost an entire section of my book to this, because it is so crucial that you get this concept. I call it the 85-15 rule. Familiar with the 80-20 rule in life in general. I consider it 85-15. You need to be focusing on communicating to people, A, in the way they want to be communicated to, and B, all about them. I mean, we're all familiar with WIFM. I don't know if, for those of you that haven't heard of that, it's the radio station we all dial into, WIIFM, which is What's in It for Me. And everywhere we go, and that's totally normal, and that's completely natural, that in life, you go through and it's okay to be thinking about how things are going to impact you. And then that's completely normal. That's how we survive. That's how we see opportunity. But what we need to do is we need to practice. And this is a process. This is not an event. You're not going to get off of this show right now and all of a sudden, just like that, turn around and start only talking about other people and only learning how to contribute and become this like contribution master. I mean, it takes a lot of work. And I am constantly working on this on a daily basis, because it is a process, not an event. But the best thing that you can do when it comes to knowing how to really actively participate in the 85-15 rule, which is 85% of the conversations about the other person, 15% of the conversations about you. Because let's be honest, you're kind of creepy if you don't talk about yourself at all. So you have to talk about, because people are going to ask you questions like, what do you do, and where do you live, and what are you about? And you can't just avoid the question and just be like, oh, I don't know what I do, so let's talk about you some more. I mean, you have to have some sort of interaction going back and forth, a little bit of a volley. But people realistically don't really notice if you spend almost all of the time talking about their needs, because most people are focused on their own needs. So it seems natural that they would be getting, basically you're feeding them the food that they're looking for. You're giving them the exact information that they want, which is, let's talk about me for a little bit. And like I said, the best technique for it, which I actually didn't say, but I'll go ahead and give it to you right now. The best technique for it is going to be drilling down in conversation, because that really forces you to not be talking about yourself if the action of your conversation involves drilling down into the other person's immediate needs.
Fantastic. And on that note, he mentioned a book. If you're watching this on the internetcitadel.com, then click up here, about right over here, on Jabez's nose, right there on his nose, and that will take
you. It's a big enough nose, you should be able to find it. So,
but it's a clean nose because he showered and spruced up for us tonight. But
that's right.
Be sure to click on his nose or on the banner beneath us that has his image on it as well. That will take you to his website, and there you can find more information about that ebook he's referring to. It's called Contribute Your Way to the Top. And Jabez, I think you had a cover of it you were going to hold up and show us what that looks like.
Yeah, we can get to that already. Here's the cover of the book.
Move it over. There you go. little closer.
A little closer.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Perfect.
So there we
Yes,
can go
right.
in. We can get there. You go. So here's there's the cover of the book for you guys, just so you guys can have a look at what it is. But I mean, what really is crucial in the understanding of this is that it's a subtle mind shift change, and that's really what contribution is all about. Is kind of just changing your own approach when you're out there interacting with people. And at the end of the day, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a finance guy. It all has to boil down to a positive return if it's going to be a new system that you build into your life. And that's why I developed this whole concept of contribution leadership, is that I've seen it work so effectively in my own life, and those that have used the system, I've watched them go through this process of evolving into people who find themselves getting opportunity. My friends used to say I was the luckiest guy they ever knew because opportunity just found itself in front of me. And that always kind of pissed me off. Because to be honest, I worked really, really hard all the time. And people, I mean, those out there, the people out there listening will understand this. You work your tail off, and just because, and you work so hard, just so that when the opportunity is available, you are able to take it.
Right.
That's not luck. That's a lot of work that goes in to be ready for the opportunity. Well, what I did is I started to teach people how to get more opportunity. So you still have to work hard. This is not a go sit on your couch and start saying some ohms and just wish yourself to the riches. You know, I don't believe that works at the slightest. You still got to be out there working, but what it's about is making sure that your mindset's in the right place so that you're building more opportunity so that it starts coming your direction. And ironically, it's all done by contributing to other people first.
Well, you know, with contributing, there's always going to be that individual out there that contributes, right? But they do it expecting something in return. So how do you handle somebody like that? I mean, you know, I think that we have a sense for that sometimes.
They, yeah, those people come in basically two forms. The first form is the networking sheep in wolves clothing or whatnot. We've all met those people, and you're out there in an event, and you're like, yeah, you know, and you're talking to them, and they're like, so tell me what you do, and you're like, oh, I do this, and I go over there and do that, and I really enjoy this part of my job, and blah, 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 and you talk for like, you think, man, this person's listening, and you are just pouring it out, and then all of a sudden, the person's like, great, let me talk to you about real estate in our neighborhood. Or do you have a financial broker? Or do you know anybody that would be looking to invest their 401k? And I'm like, you didn't just listen to a word I told you, did you? You were the entire time thinking about yes, but. And that's like, you know, what but stands for, behold the underlying truth. So I mean, the entire time they're sitting there listening to you, and that's the sheep in wolf's clothing, that they really aren't contributing, or they'll go a step further. The ones that are even worse will listen to everything you say, then turn around and faux contribute. So they'll like send you some information or try to help you out, and then the hook on it is that you have to then either go meet them and then they pitch you on whatever it is that they're doing. Like, we've all been suckered into those meetings. We're I want to learn about buying your, you know, about using your services and consulting, and you get there and it's all a pitch about them, which just drives me nuts. And so that is one type of person, but we all can sense that. You know pretty quickly, usually when you're in a meeting, if you're paying attention, especially if you become good at contributing, you begin to sense when other people aren't. And that's okay that they're not. I do not expect people I meet to know how to contribute. They don't have to, because I'm not worried about them contributing to me. And we'll get to that in a little bit later about why that's a crucial part to the process. But the other ones are the checklist ones, the tally keepers, the ones that like will start contributing to you, but they're keeping a running tally every time they do, and then all of a sudden at the end of the day they're like, all right, well, I've got 10 tally marks on mine, so you owe me big time. Yeah. And they're like, I'd like you to do this for me, and well, I've really helped you out here. And I'm like, so you really were just trying to keep score, and I didn't even know we were in that, you know, tit for tat game, and the entire time. Otherwise, you know, maybe I should have been trying to like build up some tally marks of my own, you know. But I mean, so there's those kind of people out there too. But you know, James Malinchak says this a lot. He says SW, 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 SW. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. So you know what? Some people will do it right. Some people won't do it right. So what? I could really give a crap. Someone else is waiting that wants to be a more active participant and actually
Right.
benefit someone else. And those people that come across my path that turn out to be wolves in sheep's clothing, I just, move along and I just brush them aside. I don't have time to spend wasting energy on people that are not effectively out there trying to help other people become successful.
Yeah, Brian and I have met a few like that even recently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
they're out
amazing
there.
how you have a sense for that. How you have a sense for that. And I think what's really aggravating is that when you approach people and take on a mindset of, now we're going to use the term contribution, it's kind of disheartening. But again, you have to move, like you just said, move beyond it. It's like, so what? And there's somebody else that might be standing 50 feet away that's gonna that it's gonna work out with better and would have been the better deal anyway. So
I become so obsessed with contributing to others that I begin to not even notice. Like, it really doesn't become important to me about whether or not somebody tries to take advantage of my, people don't really tend to take advantage of your contributing because you're the one, so like, for example, the tally keeper, they don't like it when you contribute a lot to them because they feel like you're going to be asking for something later. So they tend to shy away from you. The wolf in sheep's clothing is real uncomfortable because you're genuinely offering to contribute to them, and they genuinely don't contribute to others. They don't want to be around you. So you find yourself falling into circles of people who actually genuinely want to help each other out anyway. So I never really focused on whether or not I have to figure somebody out or, oh my gosh, I'm contributing to them, but I don't want to be the tally keeper, so I guess you just let it go. You just cut it loose and you start finding enjoyment and energy out of contributing to others' success. I love success stories. I love making other people successful. It's exciting.
absolutely, yeah, and there's some self-gratification in it as well by seeing people that you've contributed to becoming successful.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what they do, they look over their shoulder and they try to figure out who got them to where they are, and they generally bring those people with them. I don't need to ask you to contribute to me. If I make you successful,
Right.
I don't need every person I make successful to even want to contribute back to me. If a couple of them decide on their own they want to contribute back to me, I'm going to win.
Exactly.
Everybody wins. I mean, how do you not see that the value in understanding it? But it all boils down to the process. You got to know how to do it if you really want to start seeing it manifest. And that's why it's important to understand those 4 steps. The goals, the drilling down, the contributing, and the follow through, so that you understand that if you don't do those 4 steps in that order, then you're going to have a really tough time figuring out how to actually do the process.
And I would imagine that after doing this, like you have been doing, and again, we saw you do this in action. It was very natural. It was obvious you had been using this approach for a very long time. I don't even like to call it an approach. It's just the way you are, the way you hold yourself, was very genuine. Immediately, Kathy and I talked about you behind your back and told each other how much integrity you oozed with, and we really wanted to continue to get to know you and hook up with you. And we are the same. We're cut from a similar cloth. We love to give back. But one thing, I just lost my train of thought, but I had a really good point to make. It doesn't matter because one thing I really do appreciate, though, is you bringing up the fact that this does take work. And there's so many people out there that think, I'm just going to apply a technique or a system. By the way, click on the banner below or Jabez's nose on the upper left, and you'll get some insight as to what that action step process really is through Contribute Your Way to the Top. Always love to get that in there. But really appreciate you bringing that up because so many people try to make it look so much easier than it really is. And it's rare to find somebody to just put it out there in plain clothing and say, this is the truth. I'll give you the steps to take, but you must take them. It takes work. And nobody is given a silver spoon. Most of the people we meet that have made it to some form of stature or other have worked very, very hard to get there. So I just want to throw that in there. I greatly appreciate you bringing that up.
I mean, Jack Canfield the other day was talking about how, I can be responsible to you, but I can't be responsible for you.
Excellent.
I can help you. I can give you information. I can even contribute to you. I mean, I contribute to people all the time that don't do anything with the contribution at all. You know, and that's disheartening sometimes. Like, it kind of hurts sometimes. Like, you feel like, oh man, if they only knew. But you know what? I don't know if maybe they're just not ready. I don't know what's going on in their life that's causing them not to really be able to take action. But I do know that the most successful people will always go back and find a way. And so as long as I give and contribute, those that are going to make it are going to take that contribution at some point in time or another. You know, and so I've really been able to find a lot of joy in that idea of contributing, and I really appreciate it. Those kind words. It's really nice of you guys to talk kindly about me behind my back.
Even behind your back, yes.
Which is always what you like to hear. But no, you know, I mean, it just really did boil down to developing a process for people to begin to practice. Because like you said, you know, you don't join a new sport and think you're just going to be good at it right off the bat. You got to know the rules, you got to practice, and you got to get out there and play some games. And, you know, that's really what successful people and all the, you know, tons of the people on the air right now understand this concept that you didn't get to where you are by not taking action. You didn't get to where you are by not educating yourself. You didn't get to where you are all by yourself. So why wouldn't you spend a little bit more time learning about that process of contribution that you've already been doing? I mean, so many people out there are already contributing anyway. They just haven't quite polished it up yet. They're just, you know, there's that 1% that to where they just need to add just a little bit more, and then just, I mean, you just watch it just fly through the roof on how successful people get by simply tweaking one or two little things on something that so many people already are doing. They just need to polish it up a little bit.
I can only imagine that, you know, you've helped so many people with your contributory approach and attitude that even those that don't take you up on your contribution or they don't react in kind, I can only imagine that with all the people you've touched over the course of doing this, that at least some of those will tell others about you, and you'll get more networking opportunities as a result. Have you seen that happen at all?
I cannot tell you how awesome it is that I get these emails from random people I've never met. I have no idea who they are. I have no idea where they're coming from. They're like, oh yeah, so-and-so said I should get in touch with you because they were talking to so-and-so. And I'll like start to look back and I'm like, man, what on earth? And I start to, maybe I'll go into my email and look and realize, oh yeah, I met this person at a networking event. I found out a little bit about what they, here, let me give you a real life example. This is exactly how this went down. I met someone at a networking event here in Seattle, Washington. And we talked for about, I don't know, a couple minutes. I mean, you don't generally really talk that long at big networking events. I got their card. I wrote a little note on the back of the card to myself about what they do and what they're interested in. And I drilled down properly so I knew what they needed next. And I went back and I sent them like a news article like a week later that was like, oh, hey, you know, I found out this cool news article about what you're talking about, exactly what you're talking about. Now, I would have never stumbled upon that news article on accident had I not had that conversation with them and gotten down to what their next need is and really drilled down effectively. I wouldn't have known, nor would I have been able to have even thought to have sent them the article if I wasn't looking at contribution the right way. And I schedule my follow-through, so I sent them this article that I'd found, and they were so thankful that I had gone out of my way to think about them, to send them an article that pertained to what they do. That they went and told a company based out of Texas that has 3,000 salespeople that they needed to contact me to help them at their next conference, and they're looking to bring me in as their keynote.
Wow. And
so that one little article is worth like $10,000 by emailing one article. Now, does that happen every time I go networking? I wish. I mean, that would be awesome. But the point being, it's those little steps that you take that really are crucial in the process of understanding how it works. And just taking that moment and sending someone an article really can mean a lot to some people.
Well, you know, for those people out there that are kind of on the cusp, you know, they, you know, what kind of mindset would you say that they have to have? The people that are standing there that are just dying to talk about themselves, their product, their services, what would you say to them if they've been taught maybe the other way, or they've just gotten used to approaching the other way, what would you say to those folks that they could do different to interject that kind of relationship with people?
There is no doubt in everyone's mind that things have changed in the last 2 or 3 years. The markets have shifted, economies have changed, the way that we're going about business and the way we're communicating is changing. Whether for better or for worse, it doesn't really matter. The reality of the situation is it has changed. And part of that change is it used to be a complete numbers game. I could go into a sales job. I knew if I picked up the phone enough times, I called 100 people, I was going to get 10 meetings. If I went to 10 meetings, I was going to close 1.5 sales, which meant I was going to add X number of dollars in revenue per week. I mean, it was like I could drill it down to a science of how it was going to work. Well, something interesting happened when a lot of money dried up. Jobs were starting to lay people off. There's all sorts of stuff that was starting to go on with the economy. Social media sprouted up and started to take over our lives and become something that we have to do. Kind of like email was something that didn't really play a big part of our lives 15 years ago, but now we have to email. Social media has become that way. And the kick down the door, go in, take down everything and don't take any names kind of approach to selling or building a customer base isn't effective anymore. And that's the first step, is you have to realize things have changed. You have to accept that it's changed and understand that that's okay. You can either change with it or you can get left behind. I mean, it ultimately is your choice. The first starting point, once you realize and accepted the change, is you have to take a look at how you set your goals, and you have to take a look at what your own goals are. Part of understanding how to contribute and how to not talk about yourself is understanding the concept that your goal really isn't what I need in 5 years. It's really not thinking about where I want to be in 1 year. It's what do I need next? What do I need right now next to take me that one step? I tell you, I'm not going to lie, this is the most unsexy way to set goals ever. It is like so oh, I'm going to make a 5-year plan and I'm going to dial it down and I've got all these big grandiose things and I'm out there doing all these huge affirmations. And yes, affirmations are important. Yes, long-term goals are important, but you got to know what you need next. Otherwise, where are you going? I mean, otherwise you're just kind of stumbling along hoping you're going to find some answers. Once you figure out what you need next, and once you figure out what your goals are, I want you to take those goals, I want you to take that piece of paper, I want you to put it in the drawer, and I want you to close the drawer and forget about your own goals, period. Done. No more. Stop thinking about your own goals. Stop thinking about what you need. And then every time you meet somebody, you tell yourself, what can I do to help this person become successful? Not what can my product do, not what can my services do, not what can my company do. What can I personally, as a person, as a human being, do to contribute to this person's success? Now, if you're a manager and you've got employees, what can you do to ensure that your employees are successful? What can you provide for them to ensure they're successful? You should be trying to train your employees so they can take your job. I want my employees to be that good. I want them to be that knowledgeable. What can you do for your customers? Man, when I used to work at Nordstrom, we'd get these customers that would come in, and the tire story and all those stories are true stories, and it's absolutely crazy. Like, a customer would come up and they'd be like, we're looking for this and you don't have it. And I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, all right, well, we don't have it, but I was at Macy's the other day and I saw one of those. Why don't we call over to Macy's and put one on hold for you? I have a customer standing in front of me wanting to buy, and I am calling a competitor, putting an item on hold for this customer to go over there to give them their money.
Unheard of.
People are like, you are out of your frickin' mind. What are you thinking? But that right there is a very subtle and small way of thinking, of not thinking of my own immediate needs, but thinking of my long-term needs. If I send that customer somewhere and that customer's happy, you think they're going to look at Macy's and think, wow, Macy's really took care of this for me? No way. They're going to be looking back at me saying, wow, that was unexpected and quite pleasant, a nice, refreshing, pleasant thing. I'm really glad they got that taken care of, and they're going to come back. Now, on the flip side of that, did I gain as a Nordstrom employee by sending someone to Macy's? No. I wasn't even on commission. Did I gain for that customer coming back and buying something? Not exactly, but the organization gained. And if the organization gained, in my mind, that meant that I won. Because our goal is to be successful as a whole, not just successful as individuals. So kind of a long-winded answer to what you need to do, but you got to set your own goals, learn how to set your goals, then throw your goals away and only ever think about what other people need.
You know, that brought back just an absolute pleasant experience in my memory for me. I was in sales for 25 years, and I had an account, and they needed a product, and if they did not have it, it was going to keep the plant down. It was for a paper mill in Santa Clara, and if they didn't have this part of the paper mill would be shut down. So I did something very similar and contacted my competitor, who happened to have the part that we needed in stock. I had taken over the part of the contract from this company, and so they still had it. They had not returned it, and
Wow.
I had not ordered them in yet. So I actually was able to go over. The competitor sold the part to me, and we serviced the customer and took care of them. But it kind of brought back a pleasant memory for me, so thanks for sharing that. But
Yeah.
that's so true, because I gained so much from that. I ended up getting more business, and the relationship became tighter. It was just a win-win for everybody. It was great.
Man, I love the Nordstrom stories are just so much fun. Another quick story about kind of an experience with this is we had a client come in, a customer, and the guy was trying on shoes, and he left his shopping bags. He'd been out shopping. He was traveling in Seattle for business, and someone stole his other shopping bags. Now, it really was his fault. I mean, he walked into a store, set all of his bags on the ground, walked away, went walking around in his new shoes, and somebody swiped his bags. And, somebody might say, well, the guy shouldn't have been such an idiot leaving his stuff all over, should have asked somebody to watch him or put him behind the counter. There's a million things he could have done. But he came up to customer service where I was working at the time, and he asked, oh my gosh, my bags got stolen. We looked up security. Sure enough, we watched the bags go right out the door. And he's like, there were gifts for my wife and daughter, and I'm flying home today. What should I do? And I was like, well, do you have the receipts? He's like, yeah, here's everything that I purchased. And so I took all the receipts. And I said, why don't you, here's a gift card to go get a free cup of coffee. I said, you relax. We're going to take care of this. You go down to our e-bar, have some coffee, and I'm going to call you on your cell phone here in about 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I grabbed 2 other employees. We went out. We bought all of the stuff he had just purchased.
Wow.
It's like, it was more expensive than you would think initially. And I'm not going to give you the dollar amount. But we went and we bought all the stuff, and then I called him on his cell phone, came back upstairs, and handed him all of his bags.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
the only reason that we were able to do that was because we know that if we do that for a customer, who do you think that customer is going to tell a story about? Their experience of shopping at our store, when somebody else wants to go buy something. Where do you think they're going to send them? I call those people a lifer. That's someone who will always be an advocate on your behalf. I talk about building armies of advocates, like building a brigade of advocates, like people that will advocate on your behalf all over the place. And you do this by contributing to them. And this was our form of contributing to our customer. And I do this in business all the time. And I watch my clients do this all the time, where they'll selflessly give something or point or make a connection for somebody and contribute to them. And what they're doing is they're building advocates, they're building that voice, they're getting people to talk about them, they're getting people to be out there and promote them. I mean, how many people out there would like someone else to be out there regularly promoting your product, services, or whatever it is that you offer? I mean,
Right.
Sign me up. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, that is the way to do it, right? Like, I could spend thousands of dollars on marketing, or I can develop techniques that will have other people be doing the advocating for me. And that's really kind of at the core component of Nordstrom and their philosophy, and how this really works into the contribution leadership model.
I love it. It's beautiful. I feel like going and contributing right now.
And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, why not? I want to enjoy this whole work thing. If I got to do work, I want to enjoy it. I'm tired of this idea of just banging away on the computer and like feeling like I'm fighting everybody all the time.
Yes.
Man, I tell you what, I hear people say, well, I don't want to get walked over. Like, oh, contributing, it's all soft, and I don't want to get walked all over all the time, and I don't want to be some pansy out there, and everybody's using me as a doormat. And I'm like, you're really missing the point. that there are far more people out there that will enjoy your contribution, respect your contribution, and become an advocate for you in life than there are people that are going to use you as a doormat. And like I said before when we were talking about, I just forget those people. That's fine. They'll fall off on their own. I got 15 other people that want to do business with me, that want to interact with me, that I'm contributing to. And that really is the whole point of the purpose, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Well, I think Brian and I have that mindset, and I don't know that. I mean, I can see just from talking to you and reading some of the information that you have, Jabez, that Brian and I do some of that. We didn't have an actual name for it, but I think that you're going to help us hone some of those skills that we do have, and I do believe that Brian and I can learn a lot from you, and as well as our viewers, to go out and do more contribution leadership with people around us. It's just a beautiful thing and a beautiful way to give back in more ways than just donating and that kind of thing, because in fact you are donating your services and your ability to listen and just a lot of things. I think it's great. I love it. What do you think, Brian?
It's incredible. I love the whole concept of it. There's nothing bad about it whatsoever. In fact, when you were talking about people whining about being stepped on and all that, Kathy can attest to this. That was me. I had helped. I was one of those. I'd helped people and got stepped on and spent a lot of time helping these people, which was probably, I don't know, maybe that was a mistake that I put too much time in initially. But this is very refreshing. Kathy and I are already on the books to contribute our time at 2 different weekend events, one at Christine Comerford's, another at Craig DeSwalt's in September.
That's great.
And we are just going to be there as servants and do whatever they want. I said, I'll do everything, hold except for one thing. I am not cleaning any bathrooms.
He doesn't want to clean toilets. I'm like, come on.
Well, all right. It is okay to draw. It is okay to draw some lines as long as you set fair expectations up front. But I'm not above anything. And this last job I got because I volunteered at this person's events and what they do, and I was out there running and getting coffee. I mean, I don't care. I really, I'm done with caring what other people think about me. If you don't want to get to know me, then that's fine. That's your own business. That doesn't really bother me. Whatever. If I'm going to go get coffee and you're going to think less of me, well then, too bad for you, because life's not really worth it on that end of things, And so when it comes down, like an important thought about Brian, you spending too much time. I want to make sure that people get this idea that contributing is not let me find out what you need and then let me go do it. Contributing is not me replacing the work for you. Contributing is how do I help you be more successful. So, for example, if I'm at a networking event, if you've ever met the business card ninja, the person who runs around the networking event, they're like, here's my card, 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 here you go, here you go, here you go. And you're like, watch them ping around the entire room, and they're just throwing their cards at everybody. And you're thinking, my gosh, are you really going to get much of a response out of that? And so I'll meet people, and I'll find out what they need, and my number one way to contribute is by making connections. Who do I know that might be someone that could help you? And that goes back to the idea of me sending a customer to Macy's, or me going out and even buying somebody else's stuff for you. Who do I know that's not me that can help you? And then pointing you in that direction, especially if your plate's full. Oh my gosh, right now, are you out of your mind? I don't have time to add really anything onto my plate at the moment. We're getting ready to move. My wife and I are moving down to Las Vegas. And, so we got a lot going on right now. And I can't come in and do your stuff for you, but I probably know someone that can help out. So making connections is a huge one. I mean, I got a whole list of things. We could do a whole show just about the list of things about what you should be considering how to contribute, so that you don't end up spending so much time being the one that's actually out there slugging the hoe and trying to, till the field. Like, I want to make sure that you are still having your own life to do your own work, because that is important. And I mean, that's not what contribution is about. It's not wasting your time in the slightest. I mean, I hate to work. I mean, at the end of the day, I work because I enjoy life and I want to do other things. So if I'm going to have to work, I'm going to do it fast. And I'm a fast implementer. I'm an action-oriented person. I believe everybody out there should be. I think that you should be fast and that you should be someone who takes action. Enough of this whining about, well, I'm not really sure, I don't know, but what if? I mean, done. Just take action. If it doesn't work out, so what? Move the next direction. Just keep going. I plow forward like nobody's business. And I have a whole network of people to hold me up because I contribute to so many different people around me that I've been able to build that strong of a network that I get the ability to afford myself the opportunity to screw up all the time. And I think that it's important that, but again, that just goes down to the freeing up time. That really helps free up time if you stop worrying about if it's always the right decision. And you stop trying to do everything for everybody. A good word to know is the word no. It's a good one to add into your repertoire.
Yes.
No, I can't. But, you can, it doesn't mean you can't contribute. And you can say no and still contribute because I can still point you in a direction. I can give you the information. I can make a connection for you. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it.
Right.
So just no doesn't mean I'm not going to help you. No means I can't do it myself. And in fact, more often than not, that ends up leading to more opportunity coming your way. I mean, it's phenomenal. It really is.
Excellent.
I'm powered up about it. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't notice, I get real fired up.
Don't wait. Just keep plowing forward.
Well, I've watched it work, and it
No,
doesn't
I
mean
got to tell you, and Brian, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Just from talking to you the other day, you were like boom, boom, boom. We were on the phone talking, and like you said, you've got moving going on. You had a big party deal with this last Friday, the LEAP thing, and all of this stuff going on. And we were on we were doing our testing. And Brian said, okay, we need to have this and this. And you're like, okay, boom, boom. And it was like all of a sudden the email started shooting through. And you said, oh, my gosh, I got a video. And the video came through. I was like, holy smokes, this guy is on fire. But, so saying that you just like move through things and no moss grows on a rolling stone, baby, you got that one right. Because
I tell you what, I learned real quick that done is done. And done is better than perfect. I stopped trying to make things perfect. And really understood that you'll always be able to make something better. I don't really believe that things are as black and white as sometimes they seem. You'll always be able to improve things. You'll always be able to make things better. And when you start to feel that way, for me that goes along with over-delivering. When I don't have to be worried about things being perfect, I can focus more on delivering and I can focus more on over-delivering. And that's a big key to this whole idea of like the follow-through piece is that understanding how to effectively under-promise and over-deliver. And that is a crucial piece to the communication. I mean, we've all bit off more than we can chew on more projects and more things than we probably like to admit in life. And I can tell you right now that you and we all know how much, much, much more effective and successful it is when you under-promise and over-deliver. And I love it when people do that with me. So it's just something I try to repay back to other people is learning how to effectively over-deliver. And, that is something that really, to me, is fast implementation and taking action are all key components to that.
Now, we've gone over a lot of what to do for contributing. We've talked about the whole art of contribution leadership. I love that phrase, by the way. I hope you've copyrighted that or trademarked it. That's sweet. I like that.
I'm working on it.
All right. So, it's Jabez Lebrett's term. Nobody take it.
That's right. No, hey, I got it on. I got the paperwork in already, so too late on that one, folks. Sorry.
Excellent. But do you have any advice on folks regarding exactly what not to do when they're actually contributing to somebody?
Well, a good way to start off is don't offer contribution and not do it. That'd be the first thing I would say is don't. I've learned to slow down the amount of time that I say, oh, I can help you with this or connect you with that. And I've learned to just shut my mouth and listen. And then go back, and then when I get a moment, just do it. And that really is that kind of under-promise, over-deliver in nature right there, is that if I don't promise you at all at the beginning and then I contribute to you, I automatically am over-delivering because you weren't even expecting it.
Right.
And then I don't have to feel like I'm making promises that I can't keep. And sometimes you think you can contribute, and then at the end of the day, you figure out this really isn't the right contribution. I really didn't listen closely enough, or I didn't drill down properly, so I didn't really get the right direction to go to contribute, so I might miss the target. That would be one thing not to do, is to make sure that you take action if you say you're going to. The other thing that you don't want to do when it comes to contributing is you do not want to think about what I can do for this person. That's like the death knell to contribution, is while they're talking, we've been there. You're at that meeting, or you get introduced to somebody and you're talking to them, and the whole time they're talking about what they need or what they do, you're thinking, sweet Mother of Mary, I've landed it. This is the most perfect, amazing thing to walk in front of me in forever. The whale. This is a whale. It beached itself right in front of me and said, take me. Take me. And you sit there and your mind starts wandering, and it's like going off into the whole process of what you're going to do and how you're going to approach it. And you've already written the contract in your head. You've already written the sales letters and the emails and decided 6 months down the road how it's all going to play out. And then the person says something, and you wake up, you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about my idea. And then you start going into your idea, and you realize that you completely missed something they were saying, or they really were going a different direction in life, and they were telling you about what they used to do. And then you end up like totally looking like an idiot. And it's all because you started thinking, how can I personally, my product, my service, contribute to this person's need? And what you'll do is you automatically will shut off whatever they say next. You won't hear it, because your mind will start racing through all the great, wonderful abundance that you're about to get, because you just found this like leprechaun with their gold, and then just like the mist, just poof, they're gone, and then next thing you know, you get nothing. I mean, you don't even have a good connection at that point. So that would be, I would say, the two things to really focus on not doing.
Excellent.
Well, those were really good points.
Well,
we never
there.
had a whale or a leprechaun in front of us. I mean,
We've all had it in some regard, where you find the person that you really think, man, I'm the right fit. The moment you think to yourself, I'm the right fit for this, just time that out for a second, finish listening to them, and it doesn't mean you can't be the right fit. I'm not saying you can't be the one to answer their question. I'm saying you shouldn't be the first one to be thinking about if I'm the one to be doing this. You need to really be able to step back and evaluate if you truly are the best, perfect fit to contribute to that person.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you use the concept of contribution with social media?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You better be. Whether or not you call it contribution or not, I tell you right now, when it comes to communicating through social media, you need to be contributing to everyone else in the social media sphere before you think about yourself. Part of that goes in, like, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, you need to be giving content, giving valuable information, interacting with other people on what their thoughts are. Probably a ratio about 9-to-1 about what your own stuff's about. So if you follow me on Facebook, which I invite everybody on here to follow me on Facebook. I love new friends on Facebook. I send out lots of motivational stuff. You'll notice real quick that I send out probably 20 or 30 posts that are either engaging, motivational, or informative before you will ever see something that says anything about what I'm doing. For example, coming on this show is a good example. Sure, I want people to know that I'm coming on the show, but I don't just sit there and post 15 times, check me out, check me out, check me out, check me out, because I know the people that are following me on Facebook get tired of hearing you only promote yourself. Or I watch other people. Oh my gosh, there's this guy out there that drives me nuts. And the only reason I follow him is just so I can get pissed off every day at watching him do this. Because it's important to know what you shouldn't be doing, So I follow this guy, and all he ever says is either some comment about what he's doing, or something he's going to do, or a comment someone else says about him. So he'll re-put up stuff that he's like, oh, thanks for the compliment. Somebody will be like, wow, I really enjoyed your event the other day, blah, blah, blah. Thanks a lot for helping out. And that's all he puts is he's like, look at how awesome I am. Look at what I'm doing. Look at how awesome I am. Look at what I'm doing. And I'm like, seriously? That's all you have to offer is look at me and look at how awesome I am? Nobody likes that person. If you were at a party and you met that person, you would find every excuse and way to walk away from them as fast as possible. So don't think it's any different online. And that's what contribution leadership is about. Putting yourself second, not thinking about your own goals and needs, not promoting yourself, not self-promoting. It's all about legitimately trying to provide content and help for other people.
Awesome. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible stuff. And you know what? This happens every week to us, Jabez. Before we know it, it's like the hour has passed.
Yes.
And we are running like past 7 o'clock. So you know what that means for us? That means, and for our viewers, we get to have you back sometime because you've got so much more information that we know that you're going to want to share with us and with our viewers as well. I want to say for me, thank you so much for coming on and taking your time because you did say you are extremely busy with the move. So thank you for contributing to us.
I'm glad you guys brought us. I'm glad you brought me on. It really has been awesome. And I just want to let everybody know, because Brian and Kathy have been so incredible about this whole process, they are absolutely amazing. I'm offering my ebook, which I provide regularly to people, and it's on that link I think they set up over somewhere, my face, wherever you can find my nose, which isn't hard to find. But since such a huge part of this is goal setting, I wanted to make sure that the people out there understood effectively how to set goals in the new way. Goal changing is constantly evolving, and I have a free audio that I'm giving everybody on as a bonus on how to effectively set goals, because that is the first step. And so I want to make sure you get on the process, because we could spend a whole hour just talking about that. We could several hours, but it's a 30-minute, quick, action-oriented. Here's what you do. Here's how you take the steps to set goals properly, so you can learn how to contribute. And as you mentioned, Brian and Kathy, my ebook does walk you through the steps, and it kind of goes into a little bit more depth on what we talked about, so you understand how to dig down and how to effectively really take these steps and process and implement them in your life. And I wanted to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to make sure they got off on the right foot. So I'm offering that for free as an added bonus to my ebook, which I've never actually done that before. So this is, honest to goodness, first time it's ever done. So right. I normally sell that CD for like $67. So I am. Wow. I learned that it's so crucial that people get it, that it's not worth selling. It's something they have to have. So that's on there, and you click on the link. It's all the information's on there. You guys can go to that page. It also has information for me. I'd be more than happy. Like I said, check me out on Facebook, LinkedIn, or wherever. I'm around. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And for those of you watching this, you may be watching this as a recording, but for those of you that are watching live and those that watch the recording, say a week to two from now, there should still be a link on this page to enter a drawing. Jabez is not only giving away an audio worth $67, but he's giving away way more than that. Nearly $6,000 worth of his knowledge and his time via 3 different prizes. All you have to do is click on the link. You'll see it on the page if it's still here. Enter that drawing. It's 100% free. It's fun. You get to interact with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and gain what are called points, just like raffle tickets. Yeah. The more points and tickets you accrue, the greater your chances of winning. Unbelievable, gracious of Jabez to do this, to offer this. Definitely get in that drawing, as well as click on his nose and grab his ebook and free audio to go with that. All right, with that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you out there to the audience. I really appreciate you guys taking time to come out here and listen to us today. And if you're listening to this right now online after the fact, I really appreciate it. I'll go ahead and extend the offer. I was going to take it down at midnight tonight, but now that I understand we're going to have this available for people to come back and listen, I'll go ahead and I'm going to throw in an extra bonus for those that are live that go ahead and get that ebook. I'll get online here real quick. I'll email you afterwards. I'll throw in an extra bonus for you that you weren't even expecting. I got another two customer service audios for those of you that deal with customers that I'll go ahead and throw in just because you're here live. So why not? today. And if you are catching this and you really want that customer service thing, I'll see if maybe I can't figure out a contest and maybe give a couple more of those away after the fact. But, why wait and why risk the contest? Go ahead and jump on right now and take a look. So I look forward to hearing from a lot of you soon and being able to interact.
All right.
Contribute. I love contributing, so don't hesitate to ask.
That's incredible. You're awesome.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Well, Kathy, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you once again, hosting the show, co-hosting with you. It's just been a great ride. We get to have phenomenal people on our show like Jabez that just they have that giving heart, and these are the type of people we like to be aligned with, and we're so pleased to be able to bring people like Jabez to our audience to share a wonderful human being like this with the people that follow us. And so with that, Jabez, we want to once again thank you so much for coming on our show, spending your time in your hours of craziness trying to get out to Vegas. But I hope your move goes well, and we do hope to see you on the show again real soon. Kathy, you have anything final thoughts to add?
Nope. I just thanks again. Thank you very much to the people that come and watch each week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. We got a couple of guys that are going to be on with us. Going to be a fun show. So good night, and see you next week.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Good night, all. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.